Hello YouTubers, this is Todd uh, doing a little video here. Uh, Basically it's called Frugal Freightcars. I'd like to talk about some places that I go uh, to find freight cars that are reasonably priced. Um, what you're looking at here is an AccuRail covered hopper, and it's in pretty good shape. I picked it up for about $10. It's got all the parts there. It's got another set of trucks over here. AccuRail cars come with these kind of funky Accumate couplers that I don't really like too well, but you can swap those out for KDs or the McHenrys or stuff like that. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, one of the couple of places I go to find freight cars online are a couple of Yahoo groups. Here's the Yahoo groups I go to are HO Exchange and HO Swap, and I actually got this car here, this AccuRail car, off of the HO Swap page. Guy was selling a bunch of these on there for $10 a piece, and so I bought several of them from him, probably about 5 of them from him, and some of them actually came with KD couplers on them, and so pretty good buy, $10 a piece for these freight cars. Another place I like to go quite often is this place called hoseeker.org, and they have an auction site on there, and I bought some cars off of there before, and hang on just a second. Train shows are another good place that I like to go and look for freight cars. This here is an Atlas Trainman freight car, and found this at a local train show, and the guy had a bunch of these on sale for like $9, I think, just under $10, and not a real popular paint scheme. Maybe that's probably why he was selling them pretty cheaply, but I bought a couple of them up, and here's what I decided to do with one of them. Is I turned it into one of these Rio Grande freight cars like that, and I had a set of decals already, so I went ahead and cleaned off the lettering and stuff from the other one. I'll take a minute here and show you later on how to do that, what I use to do that. But wherever I can, I pick up freight cars from train shows and different things like that. Probably one of my best sources for freight cars, though, is my local hobby shop, and they have sort of a bargain bin, a used car bin, and they get cars in, and every once in a while they get a pretty good one in there. This is a Athearn Blue Box 54-foot ribside hopper, and the cool thing about this is it has KD couplers on it, and I probably passed this car over for a month straight before I really started looking at it, and I'm not really crazy about the paint job on this thing. It never was. The decals are really applied on here, not very good, so I have a tendency to overlook cars that don't do that, but don't look too good. But I'm going to try and show you how to take a car that looks like this and remove some of the lettering and stuff so that it looks like this. This is something I can work with. I can add a few new decals on there and make it look pretty good. So this car in the bargain bin was $5, and just like you see it, except, well, I had the decals on there obviously, but, another car I picked up just over this last weekend was this. It's another Athearn covered hopper, and somebody had started a paint job on it, and it was also for $5. So kind of look at some of these things when you go to your hobby shops and look at their bargain bin, look at their, even if they don't come with boxes and stuff, sometimes you can get a pretty good deal on these freight cars and that. They have a lot of different kind of freight cars that when I was there, box cars, hopper cars, you name it. Kind of hard sometimes to tell the brands of these things without boxes, but usually, if you can see this, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me try and get this focused in here. In the end of the car where the coupler is here, there's a metal cover. It's sort of a formed metal cover. All your Athearn blue box cars are going to have that on there. So that's one good way, because Athearn doesn't print on the bottom of their cars any kind of printing that tells you what kind of car it is. So the Atlas cars, and occasionally you'll see on there, I don't know if you can see that, probably got it upside down so we can see it here, but it says Atlas made in China underneath there. And also, if it doesn't say that, look for cars that have separate coupler pockets rather than attached to the trucks. So, and this Accurail car, I don't know if you can see that or not on there, but it also says Accurail right there. So keep an eye out for those kinds of cars, and you'll be surprised that even Bachmann nowadays is making fairly good freight cars. So keep an eye out for some of those when you're at the hobby shop and that. And it might save you a few dollars when you're looking for freight cars. I know there's a lot of really expensive freight cars out there, but you kind of nose around and keep your eyes open. I think you'll find that there's a lot of reasonably priced ones out there too. I'm going to come back here in a minute and show you how to take some of this lettering off. Okay, let's see if we can get some of this done. First thing I like to use is this. This is Poly S Easy Lift Off Paint and Decal Remover. Okay, I noticed that they don't make this anymore, but you may be able to find some in your local hobby shop. You could probably use some scale coat paint remover, but I'd be really careful about that. So what I'm going to do is take this decal right here off, this corner decal. So first thing I like to do is I like to take a little bit of Windex. I've got some Windex in this bottle here, this blue stuff that you see, and all that is just a cleaner. And the reason I put that on there is because it just helps get some of the fingerprints and just grime that gets picked up from everyday use. Just kind of wipe that off there, get some of that grime off there. The reason I chose this particular decal is because it's multicolored. You see it's got a red and some white there, and it's be a little bit tricky to use to get off here, but if you're careful you can put that on there. Now this is that easy lift off stuff. Just get a couple of old cheap brushes. I've got old cheap Tester's paintbrush here. That's all you really need to do, and just kind of work it around. Pretty soon you'll see it start coming off. It'll be Kind of leave that on there a little bit and let it dry. Or let it just sit there and soak a minute. And kind of scrub it around a bit while you're I don't know if you can see that or not. Starting to turn a reddish color. That's the decal starting to dissolve there. And that's what you want. But you kind of have to keep scrubbing this until it all comes off, and so it takes a little bit of time to work that around on there. The black lettering and stuff that's on here comes off fairly easy because it's just one color. But when you have a multicolor decal like this, and it takes a little bit longer for that remover to remove that stuff. Every once in a while I stop and clean off the car there, just to make sure I'm getting it. Let's see, it's pretty much all coming off there. And back there a little bit more. Just kind of get that last little bit of stuff off there. You work kind of quickly, then you won't start dissolving the paint that's underneath there. Okay. When you're finished, you take that Windex again, and I just kind of put it on there. And this kind of stops the solution from taking off any more stuff, any more paint on you. So, not too shabby. Get a little bit better look at that. Kind of took most of it off there. Left the paint behind, which is what we want. So I'll include some stills in the tail end of this video about showing the car after I've got it done. Well, you've seen the other side. That's pretty much what I'm going for, and so is to kind of get it to where I removed the lettering in that. Anytime you can reuse decals on the side of the car, that's a good thing. Yeah, that came off there. I expect that to happen anyway. So anyway, this stuff is called Easy Lift Off Paint and Decal Remover, and that's actually what I used on the Athearn car, or not Athearn, Atlas car that I showed you before, to remove the lettering on the side of this car. Was that Easy Lift Off stuff, and kind of did the same way, and so it might save you some time and some money, especially some money with the price of freight cars nowadays. But anyway, hope that's give you a few tips there on how I go about doing things, trying to save a few bucks here and there on freight cars. So thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.